the guest speaking now. First, I'd like to introduce our Muslim Student Association President, Asya Silva, aka my bestie, and the brainchild of this event.
Jazakallah ayah. Assalamu alaikum everyone. By the grace of Allah, we're able to establish our own MSA and inshallah have this event be successful. I would like to say a big thanks to the South Asian Circle of Hopkinton for their help in this event. This Iftar night reminds me of what impacted me and inspired me to create our own MSA. My family had a big impact on why this MSA was created, bringing me to many MSA events. While my parents took me to MSA Iftar nights at WPI as a child, I saw the strength and happiness that could come from a close Muslim community. My mom was an officer during her time there and continued as an MSA advisor for years thereafter, showing me the importance of giving back, responsibility, and dedication. She taught me to be unashamed of my religion, my gender, and my values. My siblings also took part in this MSA and encouraged me, causing me to strive for success and embody how all Muslims should be. I'm hoping that my nieces and nephews, Musaiba, Gulsum, and Vizayba, can carry on the tradition at their school. Thanks to the Hopkinton High School administration for supporting us, especially our Vice Principal, Mrs. Tice, who helped us form the association and help with the setup and background details of this event. And a special thanks to Mr. Willander, our club advisor, who sadly could not make it, but he always strives to learn more about Islam and encourage us in all that we do. I would like to thank everyone who is attending for their support, especially coming out on a weekday for your first or second day of Ramadan to support the youth. Jazakallah. Lastly, I would like to thank our fellow MSA members. As you hear your name, please come up to the front so you can take a picture. These people include our co-founders, Yassine Silva, our secretary, Wafia Saida, our treasurer, and a special shout out to Ayakodi, a board member, who set up the prayer room before the MSA was even assembled, and many of our MSA board, including Hamza Haider, who contributes many ideas that help us grow as a community. This event could not have happened without your help. Ramadan Mubarak, may all of our fasts and prayers be accepted. Ameen. Thank you.
Thank you, Asya, for your thoughtful words. Now I'd like to introduce Namrata Mathur from South Asian Circle of Hopkinton.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Namrata Mathur. I am a board member of the South Asian Circle of Hopkinton, and on behalf of our president, Hari Charan Chalapalli, and my co-members of the SACH board, we wish you all Ramadan Kareem. Our heartfelt kudos to the Muslim Students Association for your drive to connect the community like you have here tonight. Your outreach to SACH is an honor for us, and also helps us continue to build the foundation of our beliefs in connecting cultures in Hopkinton with such civic engagements while building lifelong connections. We look around and we see the incredible effort of this enterprising youth group and the Muslim community of Hopkinton, along with all who have supported, to build on the core tenets of inclusion and belonging as beautifully as is being done here tonight. Diversity is our unity. When we rise together, we rise in strength. Ramadan is a time for spiritual growth through patience, acts of kindness, and being helpful to all. May this holy month of Ramadan be a happy and blessed month for all of you. Let's enjoy tonight as a way to love, honor, and support one another. Ramadan Mubarak to everybody here tonight. Thank you for having us. And I would be remiss if I did not thank the most incredible Hopkinton High School, the faculty, the leadership for doing what you do so well every single time. So thank you so much everyone. It's an absolute honor.
We would now like to call our chief guest and to come and speak.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, peace and praise be upon His Prophet, Muhammad. I can't begin to express my heartfelt gratitude for being invited here tonight. Being part of this event is truly a highlight, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. I wish to begin by expressing my gratitude to the leadership and the faculty of the high school, which I think is an incredibly bold and incredibly brave thing to demonstrate this desire for inclusion, to bring all of us together under this roof and make this absolutely amazing facility available to all of us as a venue to have this celebration tonight. So I'm absolutely thrilled about that, and I feel very privileged. Thank you so much for that. I must confess that when I received the invitation, it was a little bit of a mixed feeling. One part of it was to be delighted. The other part of it said, I am allowed to speak for about 8 minutes, which is the time it takes me to clear my throat. So that was a little bit challenging, so I had to condense quite a bit what I have to say, and hopefully I'll try to do my best to really impart some ideas tonight that you could take away and reflect upon them in your own time and your own leisure. I'm a very firm believer in a simple idea that as all human beings, we seek something common and deep within us because we are all seekers. Seekers of truth, seekers of meaning, and seekers of purpose. And one of the extraordinary things about human beings is that we invest considerably into this endeavor. And we started very, very early in this journey. You might be delighted to learn, or perhaps you already knew this, about 230 million years ago, somewhere in South Africa, a parallel branch to the Homo sapiens already had the idea that in order to bury their dead, they have to bury them into a fetal position and gift them with a tool in their hand so they continue their journey after they pass away from this life. This is quite extraordinary to think that such an initiative was taken about 230 million years ago. And you can see that our strides in trying to shape this humanity in order to meet our potential and fulfill the gift that has been given to us to raise to occasions as human beings continues to be work in progress. And through these steps, we take them one by one and we evolve to our better service every day, every hour, every minute, because it's important to us and it is the heirloom that we want to pass on to our children as we move from one generation to the other. And we have much to celebrate. I am sorry to say that because I am a physicist, my training forces me always to choose examples from my field. I find it quite extraordinary that today we have been able to build as human beings an instrument, and I'll spare you the name of it and the technicalities of it and whatnot, an instrument that can measure the displacement of a distant planet or celestial object a hair width wise at 4.5 light years away. So I don't know if you were able to digest all of this, but it's a very big deal. That's the point of it. And this mind, this extraordinary gift of human beings, this idea of putting the consciousness and the brain of all of humanity to work in order to collaborate, to advance knowledge, to advance our endeavor, to constantly ask questions beyond the horizon is what makes us very special, and quite frankly what makes it a thrill to be part of this collective called humanity. But in order for us to be truly, truly human, we have to constantly balance two things. The quest for our mind to be nurtured and flourish, and the quest for our spirit to develop and be equally nurtured and flourish. And I must confess that on the second one we don't do as well. We got some work to do there. I'm always amazed that there is an index to measure human intelligence. It's called IQ. I don't think we have an index to measure human spirituality. I haven't heard of an IS or something. So we're still working on it, and hopefully one of these days it will come. And I'm thrilled that we have taken a step in the right direction to make that happen, because in order to measure the intelligence of our emotions, we now have an EQ, so we can measure emotional intelligence. And we can measure or really index what it means to empathize with other human beings and to connect with them at an emotional level. So I think that that's a step in the right direction, but usually for us humans, the latency is quite long, so it takes us quite a while to do the right things, but we come around sooner or later. Now, in order to spike our spirituality and bring it to a level of maturity that catches up to our intellect, we have been wrestling with 3 questions since the dawn of time, and it's amazing that they remain unanswered to this very day. Where did we come from? Why are we here? And what will happen to us when we go on the other side of death? Same 3 questions. For those of you who are students of history, you can go back in time, and it's quite amazing that the sages have asked them, ordinary people have asked them, we ask them, pre-modern people ask them, and I can make a prediction. I think we'll continue to ask them, because they are very probing, very intriguing questions that people have to wrestle to the ground. Islam, the tradition on behalf of which I'm going to speak tonight, has attempted answers to all of these questions. Where do we come from? We come from a common brotherhood of a source that is common to all of us. So when we come as human beings together, we begin our journey as brothers and sisters. We might choose to lose the family or miss the family or exit the family. That's the will power of every individual. But the gift that gets given to us, that we get endowed with at birth, is this idea of belonging to the same family that we start with. That's an interesting starting point. So that's the first point that Islam proposes as the possible answer to the first question. What are we here to do? Every time I'm going to refer to something that comes in terms of the teaching of Islam, obviously I'm relying on the scripture of Islam, and I'm relying on the scripture that's called the Quran, that is inspiring my answers, because I'm translating them just in plain English. The verse that answers the second question, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ, and we have made you into nations and tribes such that you invest in knowing in one another and realize that the best amongst you are the ones who are the most pious. That connects back to the point of why we need to invest in our spiritual development, because obviously if that is not a priority in our endeavor, we are not likely to win that particular race. So there is a desire to invest in that particular one. And obviously the third and the last point, which is the point that after this death, there is another life, there is an afterlife, where we continue this particular journey, because this shell that's called the body has been endowed and entrusted to us for a purpose, and the purpose is stewardship. So we behave the best way we can in being stewards of the gift that has been given to us, this gift of creation that contains nature, other human beings, ourselves, the close ones, the distant ones, and together we can rise as a better image and a better version of ourselves. And finally, Islam is first and foremost a praxis, which means that we come together as a community not because of the things we share in common and believe in, but because of the things we do together uniformly in the same way. That's a very important distinction, which we might unpack some other time if we have time for it. In that praxis, we have our expression of religion, our acts of devotion and adoration to our Creator, organized under 5 rubrics. The first idea is the idea of a belief, much like the founding of this country. When we say that all men are born equal, that's a belief. And then we strive to constantly improve democracy in order to make sure that that promise translates into reality. The same idea exists in Islam as a starting point. So the starting point is, we begin with the belief that we have a common Creator, and that Creator is worthy of worship and worthy of belief, and that informs our values and our starting point. How do we connect then, is the next question. For that, liturgy is very important to us. That's called Salah. Now, liturgy is the mechanism by which we connect to our Creator in order for us to have that bond that will remain through our lifetime and hopefully after our lifetime as well. The third rubric cultivates within us something that is called our charitable self. For us to be fully human, we need to be charitable. And charitable means that we have to prefer others over ourselves, and we have to give up our selfishness for the good of the common. So we invest in that as our third practice. The fourth one is the one that we are talking about here tonight, which is called fasting. In short, fasting, translated from the Islamic word that describes it, which is called sawm or siyam, if you render that into English, it simply means abstain. So fasting, again, the important idea I started with, is a practice. It's not an idea. Fasting is not a cerebral rationalization of a certain idea. It's modeling practice in a certain way. So what is that way? What is the abstinence here, or abstaining from something, which is giving up something for a higher purpose? What is that about? Fasting is an encompassing practice that requires us to abstain from many things that would come as mundane pleasures in our lives. First, we abstain from all things that are harmful in thought and in speech. That's the first pillar of fasting. So you cannot enter the state of fasting if you carry along with you, shall we say, gossip? Shall we say perhaps backbiting? Shall we say perhaps being unkind in speech to others, speech that could be harmful? That nullifies fasting. It automatically renders it a set of traffic rules rather than an act of worship and adoration. So it begins with that first, because it's a condition. We enter, it's like in sports when you enter a zone before you start the event by itself. So fasting requires that. So it's a condition, it's an entire state that we enter into. After we secure that, the next thing that we abstain from are the things that basically are routine in our lives. These distractions that are very futile. So for example, if you stop swiping on that maddening app that runs in front of you all day long to get the next feed about it, that's an act of fasting. Because it quiets the monkeys in your head, and it helps your brain to not be stimulated for distraction all the time, and it allows you to use that brain power and that presence to be in the moment to do something that is much more useful than a slot machine all day long. Right? So that would be helpful. So that's part of fasting. Fasting is to abstain from things that do not please other human beings or do not please our Creator. So these are extremely important things that happen in our lives. Each and every one of us, without exception, we do things that we are not proud of. But to develop the sense of heightened awareness, to know that for 30 days, starting from today until the conclusion of this entire event, I am on the watch to make sure that those things that I'm not proud of, they do not come within my circle of actions. That would be a tremendous modeling of the idea of fasting. Fasting also means that we abstain from these little things like little pleasures such as food and drink and other things. Note that I put them last by choice and by design, not because I'm trying to be cute with the presentation. It's because that is what I fundamentally believe. That's what I think it is all about. Because, you see, sensory deprivation, before the invention of this thing that's called intermittent fasting, when I used to give this many years ago, it was much harder. But now I can just refer to intermittent fasting, everybody knows what that is. But you see, the final point on which I'll conclude is this extremely important point. Fasting has forever existed. For those of you who are students of history, if you go back, you will find that the references of fasting existed all the time. As individuals, in collective communities, etc. The Romans used to fast for an extended period of time, such that they can come at the end of the day and enjoy a bigger meal. That brings to us the conclusion of this keynote I wanted to share, which is that purpose. Why do we do certain things? Why? The big question, this extraordinarily important question. Why do we do certain things? Fasting in Islam, when we abstain from all of these things, and we invest ourselves, and we give them up, and we seriously endeavor to deliver that particular commitment, it's not in order for us to gain perhaps the benefits of weight loss. It's not about the benefits of perhaps managing our caloric intake. It's not to try and do something about our metabolism to optimize it so we can live a healthier lifestyle. These are ancillary benefits. But the first and most critical element of fasting in our tradition, this is the case that's going to be for the next 30 days, is to use this fasting to be witness in the moment to please our Creator. Is to reconnect with the idea that I am not here as an accident of nature. I am here because the divine willed it. I have a life of health and compassion because the divine gifted me this. I am able to relate to other people because I see in them the hand of God. I am able to relate and elevate everybody and look at the sanctity of life in every pair of eyes that I look at because that gift has been put in me. I didn't earn it. It has been put in me. And the least that I can do as a human being, as a faithful servant, is to recognize where it came from, act according to that value, and return it in kind. And the way to return it in kind is to come here and fast for a period of 30 days. And I'll give you the parting idea of one of the things that I think is a thrill about fasting as being a social event. How wonderful it is to deprive oneself during the day from the mundane pressures of life, and to know that at the end of that day, we can break bread together. With this thought, I thank you for your attention. May you all be blessed, and may you all go in peace. Until next time, Ramadan Kareem and Mubarak to each and every one of you. May God bless each and every one of you. May you have health and prosperity, and may you continue your endeavor in this month of Ramadan and get out of it the benefits that you very much deserve. May you go in peace. Thank you.
Dr. Lazuli, may Allah make this a blessed and beneficial Ramadan for us all. Thank you all for your time, and special thanks for all the speakers tonight. But this is not the end, so please continue enjoying the night. The frame behind me, as soon as I get out of the way, will be doubling up as a Ramadan themed photo booth shortly, which will be ongoing throughout the night. So you're welcome to come up and take pictures with family, friends, and everyone. And also please check out our henna station in the back over there. Yeah, thank you, and Ramadan Mubarak.